How will the military takeover in Bangladesh impact India? First of all, it will give rise to security challenges in India's northeast region. India shares a 4,096-kilometer long border with Bangladesh. As you can see on the map, 5 states of India share their borders with Bangladesh: West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Due to the change in regime, the risk of instability in these places has increased. This is because the approach of the Sheikh Hasina government towards India was friendly. Under her leadership, Bangladesh was a trusted partner of India. Her government had cracked down on anti-India elements and terror outfits operating in Bangladesh. Now, after her resignation, the threat of extremism has increased in the northeast. So in the coming times, sadly, we may see peace getting disturbed in the northeast region. The regime change in Bangladesh is a major setback for India. Many foreign powers would like the new government there to follow an adversarial approach towards India due to their vested interests. China needs Bangladesh for its Belt and Road Initiative, and Pakistan obviously wants Bangladesh on its side to counter India. Pakistan will be the happiest if radical ideology takes root in Bangladesh. Further, reports suggest that the US wants to build a military base on Bangladesh's St. Martin's Island so that it can keep an eye on both India and China. Additionally, it is inferred from the statements of Sheikh Hasina that the US wants to create a separate Christian state by splitting up parts of Bangladesh, Myanmar and India. The Kuki, Chin and Zo tribes of the northeast would be settled there. Sheikh Hasina herself had hinted at both of these possibilities. She had refused both the military base and the carving out of this separate state, and according to analysts, these refusals ultimately led to her ousting from power. This is not new. You must be aware that in the past, the US has been involved in regime changes in many countries. Iran, Iraq, Libya, there are so many examples. Now Bangladesh has also been added to this list. Now after the removal of Sheikh Hasina, US involvement in Bangladesh will increase. The new government is pro-US and the US has welcomed it. So now the path is clear. Soon you will hear that the US military base is operational in Bangladesh. The change of regime has increased the risk of Islamist radicalism in Bangladesh. Social media is already flooded with reports of attacks on minority communities in Bangladesh. There are reports of attacks on the Indian Cultural Center, destruction of temples, and targeted killings of minorities in Bangladesh. India is closely watching the developments there. The Indian government has appealed to the new regime to ensure the safety and security of minority communities in the country. If attacks on minorities do not stop, they may be forced to flee to save their lives, which could create a refugee crisis in India. People will try to cross the border and enter into India to escape violence and persecution. This will put additional pressure on India's security apparatus and limited resources. As the situation at the Bangladesh border is extremely fluid, India will have to increase its troop deployment there to manage it. India is already dealing with the standoff with China on the line of actual control. Additionally, the sudden spike in terrorism in Jammu also needs to be addressed. Apart from these two security challenges, India now faces a third front on the Bangladesh border. Each issue is a huge challenge in itself, and India has to address all of them simultaneously. Managing multiple security concerns at the same time is of course not easy at all. Let us also look at the economic impact. Bangladesh is India's largest trade partner in the subcontinent, and there are significant economic exchanges between the two countries. Bangladesh is a textile hub and the biggest export destination for India's cotton. In the financial year 2023-24, trade between the two countries was worth almost $13 billion. During Sheikh Hasina's tenure, economic ties between India and Bangladesh improved significantly. Efforts were made to increase tourism, trade, and people-to-people exchanges. Cultural and social ties were also strengthened due to the movement of people. Now, with the change of regime, trade ties may be affected. There could be restrictions on the movement of goods and people. Currently, due to political instability, flights, trains, and buses from India to Bangladesh have been stalled. The block on entry and exit has affected local businesses along the border, and trade has currently come to a halt. Discussions between India and Bangladesh regarding a free trade agreement began in 2023. A free trade agreement would reduce duties and restrictions and boost trade. Now, with the change in leadership in Bangladesh, it remains to be seen whether the matter of the free trade agreement will move forward. Therefore, there is uncertainty regarding future trade growth. Further, we cannot overlook the infrastructure and connectivity challenges either. Under the Sheikh Hasina government, many infrastructure projects were initiated, including roads, railways, shipping, and ports. For example, in 2023, India and Bangladesh signed an agreement to use the Chittagong and Mongla ports for cargo movement. That same year, the Khulna-Mongla port rail line was inaugurated, as was the Akhora-Agartala rail link. This rail link is extremely important for India as it connects the northeast region to the mainland, reducing travel time between Agartala and Kolkata from 31 hours to 10 hours. The northeast region is connected to the mainland through a thin land corridor called the Chicken's Neck. In a situation of conflict, there is a risk that China could cut off the northeast region by blocking the Chicken's Neck. Therefore, having an alternative route from the mainland to the northeast will reduce our dependence on the Chicken's Neck. However, a change in leadership may negatively impact ongoing infrastructure or connectivity projects. The Sheikh Hasina regime may be internally accused of being authoritarian and corrupt. However, in this video, we are not discussing her stance toward the people of Bangladesh or whether she was a dictator. Instead, we are focusing on her stance towards India. From India's point of view, her tenure proved to be quite beneficial. During her tenure, India and Bangladesh enjoyed friendly relations and cooperation between the two countries increased. In contrast, India's relations with opposition parties and the Bangladesh army have been challenging in the past, as these groups often take a pro-Pakistan stance, which creates tensions with India. The Sheikh Hasina government controlled Islamic parties like Jamaat-e-Islami, which are known for their conservative and hardline religious views. These parties aim to turn Bangladesh into an Islamic state by implementing Islamic law. Reports suggest that these parties exploited student protests by injecting radical elements who then carried out acts of violence. We witnessed disturbing scenes in Bangladesh, including the destruction of the statue of Bangladesh's founder and Sheikh Hasina's father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. This is a clear sign of growing extremism in the country. Efforts are being made to erase the contributions of Bangabandhu, with attempts to diminish his legacy and disrespect the national heritage. These groups are now celebrating August 5 as the real Independence Day, signaling a return to the pre-1971 era. The Hasina government had prevented instability and kept extremist elements in check. Her government also closely cooperated with India on counter-terrorism. Experts suggest that after her departure, radical ideology will take root in the country, leading Bangladesh in a regressive direction, with pro-Pakistan and anti-minority politics becoming more prominent. Naturally, all of this will create new security challenges for India. With the change in leadership, we may now see a shift in the politics and policies of Bangladesh. Leaders like Khaleda Zia are returning to the scene, and we may witness a more critical and confrontational approach towards India. Like in Pakistan, new leaders in Bangladesh may adopt a strategy of fueling anti-India sentiments to rally domestic support. For example, if Sheikh Hasina stays in India for an extended period, India could be accused of sheltering a dictator. This is how information warfare is conducted by countries. Such actions increase negative feelings and hostility towards India among the Bangladeshi public, which can affect diplomatic relations, trade, and cooperation. In the short term, we may witness a shift in political dynamics and public discourse. So what should India do next? See, Bangladesh is an important neighbor for India, and ultimately, India will have to engage with whoever is in power. India has even established a working relationship with the Taliban regime, despite not officially recognizing it. Therefore, India will need to slowly adjust to this change too in its neighborhood. In Bangladesh, the legitimacy of Sheikh Hasina has significantly decreased and her unpopularity has grown. Considering the popular sentiment there, India will eventually need to distance itself from Sheikh Hasina and focus on maintaining a state-to-state relationship with Bangladesh. Currently, there is a lot of negative sentiment toward India due to its close ties with the Hasina government. As the situation stabilizes, the economic interdependence of the two countries will likely come to the forefront again, which will hopefully reduce the hostility of the new leadership towards India. A similar situation occurred with the Maldives. Initially, after Muizzu came to power, we saw his hostile attitude towards India. However, India handled the situation maturely, maintaining ties with the Maldives, keeping engagement ongoing, and leaving the door open for dialogue. Eventually, we saw a reduction in Muizzu's hostility. Let's hope the same happens with Bangladesh. We'll need to wait and watch how developments unfold in the future.